Hello, I hope everything's okay. Right, we're just going to have a quick look at this Toshiba. Yes, it's a Vestel. Apparently it's not coming on, so we'll check for standby light. It's a 49-inch, and I will show you the model number, obviously. So this was dropped off at my workshop yesterday while I was out. I've been getting some messages about it, just TV not coming on. Sometimes I have a guess, and I don't really know where to guess on this one not coming on, so it could be power supply. It could be backlights, you know. These are never very exciting. I understand if you're currently yawning. I may be able to stand it up. It'll be upside down, but I may be able to stand it up. Standby light is there. Why am I so small? I shall switch it on and we'll see what happens. You should be able to see the standby light just in the top left-hand corner here. Well, it's flashing. Ooh. Well, it looked a bit blue, but it went off very suddenly, and then it backlights flashed on for a bit. I don't know if we're getting an image there. Let me see if I can see anything. I do have the remote control for this, so I'll just press, well, I'll press the home button here and see if that brings anything up. Yes, I did see something then. Very briefly, did you? Okay, we've definitely got a backlight issue, but the backlights did look a bit blue. That's not what the TV has come in for. That's not the fault, and at the moment, my priority is to get their picture back. If in a few months' time, I mean, I'll mention it to them, doing a little report saying, I think your backlights are turning blue. What you don't want to do is frighten off a customer by saying, oh, your TV's got two faults. At the moment, they don't seem to have a problem with the picture quality, just that the picture is not there. But I do have a duty to point out that I think the backlights are turning blue, which in return may give me some future business. But at the moment, I'm going to see why the backlights aren't coming on. It may be just faulty backlights. That's not usually the case these days. Backlights tend to last a bit longer. So there were a couple of models where the capacitor would fail on the power supply. So, you know, let's have a look at that. When I'm faced with this sort of situation, I'm always reminded of a certain high street tyre replacement company. You know, for the car, you take your car in to have the tyres changed, or maybe your exhaust. I'm sure you know the one I'm talking about. They say they do it rather quick. Or they used to. Every time I used to go in there, they'd always find another fault with the car, and another fault, and another fault. So you'd go in for a 50 quid tyre, end up spending 300 quid. So I used to avoid them. And I always remember that in business, and you've got to be careful here because this TV has come in because it's not switching on. What I don't want to do is to keep going back to the customer and saying, oh, by the way, you need to do this, you need to do that. So on this occasion, the person who owns the TV is not even collecting it. So I'm not going to say anything about the blue backlights. They haven't said anything. I'm not going to say anything. If I can get the backlights to come back on without replacing them... In other words, if it's not a backlight problem. Sorry, I've got a funny old throat. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to flag up any other problems for the customer. It's not great for business. Okay, actually, as a side note to that, they've just collected the TV as I'm editing this. And the owner did turn up. So I did say... it is suffering with a blue tinge. She did say she had noticed, but it belongs to her son. He's using it as a computer monitor. She didn't think he would notice if it was bright pink. And they just wanted the TV to come on. So hopefully we can do that. Check it out first. It may need a new set of backlights. Well, two problems. One I've created and one is what we thought it was going to be. Well, I thought it was going to be. I'm sure you thought it was backlights. I couldn't get this out, and it's still in. I ended up yanking the wires out. Still with the contacts on, so they'll easily go back in, but I've got to try and get this out. But as you're going to see, this is properly wedged in. This is just a speaker plug for the subwoofer that's fitted into the back of the set. So it's easy enough to sort out, but it's just a Vestel, isn't it? Gosh, that was tougher than it should have been. I'll deal with that later. So it's looking pretty obvious. It's the capacitor on the right hand side, so it should be an easy fix, really. It's a weird value, isn't it? Strange value. 92 microfarads, 100 volts. But I gotta find one. And find one I did. It's a bit taller, but I'll soon tuck it away. Lots of people in the comments always say you should go higher value, higher voltage and higher microfarads. It's okay to go higher voltage, but be careful with the microfarads when you're changing over. And as you can probably see on this one, I've been very generous. I've given an extra 8 microfarads free of charge. I'm not gonna charge for it. Anyway, I've changed that one cap. There may have been an argument for changing both of them, but I've just changed that one for now. I try and keep the cost down for the customer, as always. If it turns out to be a mistake of me, I'll stick another one in free of charge, but I think it's going to be fine. So it is a bluish pick, but it looks like now with that capacitor, as you can see, the backlights are going to stay on. I'm just waiting to see if it goes into some sort of home screen, and it doesn't. Where's the remote? Where did you put the remote? Okay. Just going to switch it to the apps. Oh, it's a bit older, this TV, than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, the backlights are staying up now, just a capacitor.